Today I'll be highlighting some moments from cinema, especially Hollywood, about featuring men who are dealing with their existential crisis in their own way. And I'll be uh, uh, pinpointing certain actors and certain performances and uh, the circumstances that the actors or the characters were in that particular movie, and these scenes where they kind of reveal themselves. Uh, so we'll start with Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront, which was the inspiration for Amir Khan's Gulam. And in that movie, there's a scene where Marlon Brando's character confronts his brother, who also happens to be his agent slash manager, and he tells him that he's never going to. So he's talking about himself, and he says that he's never going to amount to anything big in life. He's always going to be the word he uses is bum, like uh, and that barely 1 minute performance is not even 1 minute. I think that says everything you need to know about what great cinema performance is all about. It's barely words. It's more about your expression and the conveyance of deep-rooted insecurities and pain and all those things that you feel when you really don't know what you're going through, but you are fixated about certain goals or uh, uh, certain achievements. So in his case, he's a boxer, and he wants to have a shot at the title, but he's not getting it. And that particular scene is amazing on so many levels. Uh, if you move ahead, this was in the 1950s. If you move ahead, then there were several movies in the 1960s too. But my favorite one is in the 70s when Taxi Driver showed Travis Bickle played by Robert De Niro, especially in the finals in the climax scene when things are all settled and police case is done and he has rescued the girl and now he is the good guy. All this while we thought that maybe he's a psycho, he's whatnot like. But in the final scene, he kind of redeems himself, and there is this woman he went out on a date with, and she rejected him obviously. But in that final scene, the story comes full circle, and he smiles at her uh, through his rear window, car window, and it's beautiful, like how this man has finally found that calm that he was looking for. Obviously, the movie is a tribute to New York City through this uh, very volatile character. But it's amazing. It had to end at night. That was the essence of the story. It had to end at night, and it ends so beautifully. That is memorable. Obviously, I'm talking about myself here, and then there was in the again, I'll skip 80s. In the 90s, there was Legend of the Fall, starring Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt's character is, of the three brothers, he is the one who is promising as well as crazy, or should I say, kind of unstable. But still, he is the most beloved of all the three sons. He is the most beloved. So Anthony Hopkins plays his father, and there's a scene where obviously they own a huge ranch, and there's a scene where a cow is caught up in the barbed wire and it's struggling. So Brad Pitt's character, he goes and he tries to save the cow, but he can't. And in his failure to save the cow, he ends up killing the cow, because since he's not helping with the alleviation of the misery, he decides to end it. And even when he pulls the trigger, you can the shot is clearly on his face and his eyes, and you can see that they are welling up, because that's not what he intended to do. He wanted to uh, uh, give the cow some relief, but he couldn't help her. So that particular scene kind of summarizes the entire range of emotions that this particular character plays throughout the movie. Uh, I think that was one of the greatest on-screen performances by Brad Pitt. Although he went on to do many more films where he managed to show so many sides of his own personality as well as the characters he was playing. And so that one scene has stuck with me. Uh, Even in Seven, a few years later, he made Seven by David Fincher, and in that movie too, there are many scenes where we can totally relate how helpless he is, and he hates being helpless. The whole point is he can't stand being helpless. He wants to help, but at the same time he is helpless. So how is he going to help? And that dichotomy is so effectively. I think the credit goes to the directors, the range of directors that he has worked with. Then there was Leonardo DiCaprio's role in The Departed by Martin Scorsese, which was a remake of Hong Kong thriller Infernal Affairs. The irony is Martin Scorsese bagging his first Oscar for a remake, but that doesn't take away anything from the movie because the movie is brilliant. And I peculiarly like that one scene where he's supposed to visit the shrink, the psychiatrist, and who ends up being his girlfriend and his love. And she asks him, "How are you feeling?" And there's a very emphatic monologue around it. How do I feel? And he gives it's more of a rant, and he reveals so much, like all the anxieties that he has as an undercover, and the decisions that he has taken in his life to somehow break the mold, the family mold, because his family is from the mafia side and he doesn't want to be associated with them. He wants to be on the right side of history, and it's not easy. It's never going to be easy because he has to work doubly hard than anyone else in the force, and he literally has to put his neck on the line against someone like Jack Nicholson, who is a mafia head, like drug lord and whatnot. And so that one particular monologue in the psychiatrist's room is something that has stuck with me. Uh, there is no redemption for him, though. Sadly, there is no redemption because in the yeah, it's a spoiler alert, but in the end, he is not there. Although he's celebrated, his courage is celebrated, but he's not there. So I don't understand whether there's a proper full circle, because I when I'm looking for these characters who have so many demons, and they are like constantly struggling with the voices in their head and not getting a straight answer. And if they don't come full circle, if they don't redeem themselves, then I feel that maybe to some extent they have failed, which is not what you want to do, right? When you're watching these people on screen, you want them to win. If not win, at least find some peace in the end, right? So that particular monologue has stayed. Then there was Catherine Bigelow's The Hurt Locker, which was a surprise win, if you remember. It created an upset over Avatar. Like back then, Avatar was we're supposed to pronounce it as Avatar or something, but yeah, that was for the longest time the most successful movie too. It outranked Titanic. Interestingly, uh, both the films have the same director as well as producer. Director being obviously James Cameron, and producer being John Lando. During my journalism days, I was lucky enough to interview John Lando, and we spoke about motion capture and how it's not going to be the future of cinema, which turned out to be right if you look at it, because this year's movies, if you notice, uh, there's hardly any motion capture. It's more about emotion and capturing emotion on screen rather than motion capture. So anyway, coming back to the Hurt Locker, the final scene, again, a spoiler alert, when he wants to initially, because of uh, uh, the dangers associated with his job, is part of the bomb squad. They do the dirty job of, not just dirty and dangerous job of finding the bomb and dismantling it. And this guy, Jeremy Renner's character, he has found his purpose in that job. Although somewhere he hates it because he doesn't want to go back to places like Iraq or Afghanistan, but at the same time, when he comes back home and is trying to fit himself in the domestic travails and all, taking care of the baby and being loving and whatnot. But soon he realizes that this is not for him. That is much more happy is not the word. Not, I don't think he's looking for happiness. He's looking for purpose. There's a clear distinction between happiness and purpose. People keep on confusing happiness, purpose, and meaning. There are three different things. Happiness is fleeting. Purpose is not fleeting, but purpose is something which keeps you practical. Meaning is more of an abstract thing. The meaning keeps on changing. So I think my understanding is that he is looking for the middle one. He's looking for a purpose, and he finds his purpose in what he's good at, being part of the bomb squad and doing that job. So the final shot is of him in his suit, whatever that suit is called. Looks like hazmat, but something else. Maybe there must be a proper name for it. So he's wearing that and he's walking on a deserted road, no pun intended. And it's a back shot, and you can see him like walking towards a suspected area where there might be a bomb by the insurgents or whatever you want to call them. So that scene has been memorable for me. Since we are focusing mostly, or should I say, like completely on Hollywood movies, I'm missing out on regional cinema and foreign films and many more such examples. But I feel that these movies, they kind of touch that existential chord, because it's although all these characters are male and predominantly isolated in their personalities. Like none of them are the Joe Kilo kind or the Bonhomie kind. They are all very into themselves, like very very shelled and but still I must be missing out on so many more such examples. But it's interesting that we remember these characters mainly because they somehow touch you. Maybe maybe there is the gender plays a part here, but I feel their struggles and their troubles, they all play out very well on the screen. One interesting addition that I thought I should make, although I wasn't sure, maybe we can add Adam Sandler's performance in the Mayor Was Its Stories, where he plays Dustin Hoffman's son. And Dustin Hoffman is this very distant, not, you can call someone a distant father, but he is very distant. He's very distant from his kids, all the three of them, and Adam Sandler is one of them. And in the final scene, Adam Sandler, being a very understanding son, he forgives him. like he's done with him, like, I'm done with you types. And the dialogue is very striking, that he says that he doesn't have anything uh, in him left to feel bad anymore, because all his life he felt that his dad wasn't there, wasn't the father figure that kids hope that they will have, and so many other things, like how annoying he is and all that. And that final scene is something which has stuck with me, which again is a very male dominated milieu of emotions, very colored by Hollywood, or should I say American culture. So this very random list doesn't cover everything. It's a very random list. But then this whole YouTube channel is a very random idea, and we are doing very random things. And the very fact that you're watching this adds your randomness with mine, and I think that's a good place to be.